How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming and
Uh,
spending some of your day with me.
Absolutely fine.
What have you been up to today?
So every morning we get up, I have a little hour with my little man, just sit and chill. Then I went to the studio, did some prep because I'm teaching tonight, so I just went and prepped the routine, and then went for a little walk into town. Just did some bits and bobs. Pretty casual day.
What routine?
So today we're doing a little bit of Lionheart from Betty Blue Eyes.
Oh,
Yeah. So last week, for the last 2 weeks, we've been doing, because I'd like to work on a routine over 2 weeks. So we did Pinstripes from Catch Me If You Can. That was for the last 2 weeks. And so this week we're doing a bit of Betty Blue Eyes. Can't go wrong.
nice. And so,
Yeah.
and these are your kind of newish classes, are
Yeah. So
they?
this is the one that I started because I got bored.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's because I'm sort of 35 minutes out of London on the train. I was very aware that it's like prime commuter belt, and there's a lot of dance schools around here, and so I figured there must be a lot of like either ex pros or pros that live out here, or people who are still in training. So I started doing them. Like I thought I'd just have like one lesson a week or something, but then like loads of people came in touch going, oh yeah, we're pros, we've moved back from London because there's nothing going on, we'd love to come and take class with you. So I run like 4 or 5 classes a week now.
You say that you normally kind of rely on previous stuff. Where do you get your motivation from then, or your like ideas from?
So I hate doing like the classic. No, that's wrong. Sorry, I hate doing the standard classics. So like, other than in tap, when every so often you need to whack out a Crazy for You or 42nd Street, because why wouldn't you? But
Yeah.
in jazz, I don't want to do stuff that gets done in every lesson. So I always try and look for something either a little bit newer or a little bit sort of different. So yeah, so I'll just go through iTunes or other music providers are available, and I'll just have a little listen and see what kind of takes my fancy. Betty Blue Eyes is a show that I really love anyway. I saw it in town years ago and loved it, and I thought, you know what, I'd like to do something from that. So, but then others, I just like, actually, you know what, that's a bit of a challenge. I'd never do that. Like the Pinstripes from Catch Me If You Can is in 3/4, and I kind of like, I was like, you know what, let's do this. Normally, I'd be like, that's too much hard work for a lesson. Let's leave it. But I thought, no, it's a good challenge. See how it goes. And I'm loving it, and I'm just loving the kind of the freshness of it all, and not just relying on stuff that I did 6 years ago.
Do you recall the moment that you were like, I love theatre, this is
Um,
me?
so I'm one of these that kind of, I've always done it. Like, so when I was, the longer story is that my grandma used to have her own dance school when she was a lot younger. She got into White Lodge, which is the Royal Ballet Junior School, when she was younger, but she didn't go because of family stuff, and she never went. Then my mum got into RADA when she was younger, and then met my dad, and he convinced her not to go, and he said it wasn't really a sensible career, so she became a dental hygienist. So she never went. So but she kept dancing at a local dance school, and she did a dance school show, and me and my brother went along just for a bit of fun, just to watch it. And I said, oh, I'd like to give it a try. I think I was about 3.5. And she went, okay, thinking that it would just be a couple of weeks, flash in the pan, and then I'd want to go and do something else. And like 28, 29 years later, I'm still like doing it, and I've never stopped. Like, I don't think I've ever gone a month without a dance lesson, or doing something.
So you have a son, you said,
I do,
and
yeah.
how old is he?
He's now a year and a half.
Does he show any signs of interest in like singing, acting, dancing, music?
He loves dancing. Like, he loves watching it. So whenever I come home, I've like recorded the lessons, and he'll want to see the routines, and he'll want to, like, he's mesmerized. Like, he loves watching the wiggles on TV, and like he can do all the routines. Like, he does all the mashed potato and mashed banana, hot potato kind of stuff, and he loves dancing. He's constantly moving. He can do like all the actions to Wind the Bobbin and Twinkle Twinkle. So I think he's definitely got the dance bug. Like, if you put him in a studio, like, he loves tap. He'll just sit and watch your feet mesmerized. I personally am not going to pressure him to do it. I think my wife might. But he just at the moment, it just loves being in that room. So as long as that continues, I'm going to be really happy.
And have you, like, so obviously the dreaded COVID,
Yes.
has it been exciting, be able to spend more time with him, or
Yeah,
has it been a bit of a...
There's been a few massive ups to this whole situation. The first one is that, like, the family time we've had. So I was very lucky in that I was supposed to be having an incredible year. Like, my year planned out from January to October was going to be incredible, theatrical, like, working. And so I wouldn't have seen him much because I'd have been away, like, doing productions and stuff. So to see this, like, formative year has been incredible, and to spend it with my wife and just kind of knit the family together again has been incredible. The stuff I've seen, like, him grow and him develop, like, his first words, his first steps, running, like, and taking him every single day. I take him out somewhere, just me and him. So we have this, like, prime time together, and it's been brilliant. And also the chance to kind of, like, develop new things within myself. So, like, I'm developing these new lessons that we were talking about earlier, and I'm working on new choreography bits, and I've started a couple of little business ideas within the theatre industry, and my network has grown so much more than I ever expected it to, whilst I've never really left this house, to be honest. So I think that's been amazing. Like, there's obviously huge downsides, but you've got to take the positives, and there have been some amazing positives out of this.
So, career.
I
know this is going to be really awkward to talk about, isn't it? Because you're just like,
right.
I hate talking about yourself. Proudest moment so far in your career?
So as a performer, back when I was performing, other than the show with Darren, obviously, which was a highlight, I did a big charity gala at the Dominion, and we had a full 2,500 people audience. We had a 60-piece band behind us, and we finished a big tap number, and just the standing ovation at the end of that, like, it was just in the middle of the show. It was incredible. Like, that feeling is something that I will never forget. So that's kind of my performance one. As a choreographer, there's kind of two. I think when I won my Offie for Top Hat, and, like, that was 3 years of doing shows at a small theatre above a pub, and it was, tap shows are the hardest ones to do there, and it's like, to get all three I was Offie nominated for, and then on my third one I won it, and so kind of that progression felt really good and felt kind of really cementing, kind of, that I'd made the right choice of switching to be a choreographer. And then last year I worked on a show at Chichester, and just before lockdown, I think it was like the month before lockdown, we got announced that we were transferring it to the National, and it's kind of, so that was something I never in my life expected, to be choreographing at the National. Wow. Whether it still happens now, we don't know. But anyway, like, that moment when I got the message from my agent saying, it's the show you've worked on and created is going to be moving to the National Theatre, is just incredible.
So is there anything particular that you miss about being on stage?
I miss the buzz sometimes, but I really miss being in a dressing room. I really miss it. Like, the onstage bit was always wonderful, but what made it was that moment in a dressing room when you just sat with your friends, and, like, you've got the anticipation, it's building, and then you come down and you get that, like, 10-minute where you don't really do anything straight after a show because you're a bit, like, buzzing from it. I really miss that. And being a choreographer, like, you don't even get a dressing room anymore. Like, you turn up and you go, where did I put my bag? And then, like, just shove it in the auditorium while you wait and do tech. So yeah, we don't even have a home.
Oh, sad.
No one cares about us. A smaller violin than that, much smaller.
Right, auditions. The most terrifying thing about a show. Most embarrassing moment, either for you or a moment that you've witnessed.
There's loads. So the furthest I got in an audition was for a tour of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, like, without getting the job. I mean, so I'd done the dancing, they loved it, it was brilliant. Like, I'd had to do all the box jumps, and we were kind of there going, yes, great, come in, just need to sing a little bit, we just need to check that you're okay. I absolutely sang the worst, like, out of tune, I cracked, it was, and I walked out and just went, they're never going to see me again, ever at all. So, and that's when I knew that maybe just everything you learn in college isn't enough, like, you have to keep going. Learning. So that was a big disaster. And then my very first audition as a choreographer, I was getting, I wasn't cocky or anything, but I was being a bit kind of like, okay, so we're going to do this, and we're going to do a kick combination from the corner. Like, who does that in an audition? And so I demonstrated, I went step, kick, and just went, poof, like landed flat on my back. And that kind of proper, it was brilliant because it like broke the ice in the room and didn't break me. But yeah, like it kind of leveled me and made me
Yeah.
realize that, you know, no, don't be that idiot. So yeah, it was horrible and devastating. And I wish the world could have like swallowed me whole. But I think it served a purpose and I'm really glad it happened.
What is it like being on the casting side of the panel in that audition room?
It's brilliant. Like it's really good, and I would highly recommend every performer should try and be on that side of the panel at least once, because you see so much. And what you do realize is that we are really rooting for you. Like we're not there going, oh come on, mess up, fall over. But it's daunting being on the other panel. Like I remember sitting there, especially in singing for me, because I'll sit there and I'm like, oh please be good, because I was terrible. But you get to see what works and what doesn't work, and you get to see how to present yourself, how to like where the kind of over the top and playing it under is kind of where that line is. So it was incredible. I learned so much more by watching and auditions than I did through any of my performing career.
Or pet hates in the audition room?
People just trying too hard when they don't need to. Like, I think just come in, have some fun, be yourself, and show me what I'm going to be working with for those next 2 years or next 6 months or whatever it is. Because that's what I want. I want to check that you're good enough, but also that I'm going to enjoy working with you. Because if you're otherwise, it's just going to be, you know, like if someone's come in and they're all up in your face and they're kind of all giving it too much, and you know the eyebrows are up here and they're just, you get, whoa, calm down. We don't need that. So that's a big pet hate of mine. And just not listening. People that come in and like they'll go off the music because they're trying to do as many pirouettes as they can or something. And I go like, I only asked for 2 and now you're 6 counts behind everyone else because you did 4 beautiful pirouettes, but I haven't got time for that in the choreography. So why are you doing it? That's like another big bug for me.
Is it really? People that say this all the time, I'm interested to know. It's who you know, not what you know.
To a degree,
Where
yeah.
do you sit?
I completely, for a performer, less so. For a performer, I think it is what you are is a lot more important than what you know. That's a new one for you. So just in that, like, because if your reputation goes before you as a performer, so I think that's really important to make sure that you are yourself and that you put forward a good image. As a creative, it's massively who you know. Because if you can get in with a director that will take you along, because directors are normally the first person attached to a show. If you can get in with a producer, because they're normally ones that will pitch for the show to the rights holders. Like, if you know them, then it's brilliant. Like, because there's so many people that have to choose a performer for a job. Like, it's great, even if, like, say my brother wanted to audition for my show, even though he's related to me and, you know, I don't get the final say. He has to fit in with the musical director and the costumes. And like, there's so many of us that say that, yes, it can help. Like, it can get your foot in the door and it can get you a step up. It won't necessarily get you the job. But being a creative, it can massively help.
People always say to me, oh, I can't dance. I just can't dance.
I think everyone can dance to a degree. Like, everyone has some ability to move. Like, if you can put one foot in front of the other, you can. Not everybody has rhythm, which is a very, very valid thing. But I think even if you go and do, so my biggest thing is when I'm working with like actors rather than like dancers, or, you know, someone who comes and they want to get into a college, but they've never had much dance experience. I teach on a lot of these kind of like training courses where it's getting them ready to go to colleges. If you're not a dancer, my biggest thing I always say is go and do like Zumba, because something like that, because that
Or Chi Chi Fit.
Or Chi Chi Fit. Or Chi Chi Fit with Lauren. Just because that will give you the rhythm, because I think that's what people don't necessarily get, is they associate dancing with rhythm and they think that being able to do the steps is the same thing, whereas it's not. They're two very different things. Like, I know lots of people that can do the steps but have zero rhythm and so therefore can't dance like that. And I know some people who've got a great rhythm but can't do the steps, but they make it work anyway. So I think like that's your way in. If you don't think you can dance, go and do some Zumba or Chichi Fit with Lauren and get yourself the rhythm and just moving to music, and then you can transform that into dance.
Did I read correctly that your next tour is coming to Bath, or your next show is in Bath?
So supposed to be, that was what we were working on. Like that was the show that I was on as lockdown kicked off. So it was Bath Theatre. We were going, so it was going into the Euston of the studio space at Theatre Royal Bath. So that was going to be happening. Hopefully next year it will come back, we're hoping, but who knows? Like it all depends on availability now of who's around. And I think Theatre Royal Bath is going to be safe. So they've just announced actually Theatre Royal Bath is getting some new live productions going in next month, I think. A couple of sort of like two-hand plays.
Yeah.
Because the director of the show I was going to be on is going there. She's doing one. So hopefully next year, I'll have Test Match, which is a play about cricket. Who knew? It's actually very good. Very, very good. That's going to be coming to the Euston of, fingers crossed. So I'll be down your neck of the woods.
Yay. Exciting. And then as obviously we don't really know what's happening with the pandemic, whether we're going to be allowed back to normal, but what's next? What's like, you obviously got your classes.
So next week I start back teaching at some professional colleges as well.
Uh-huh.
And then excitingly in October, correct. I'm workshopping a new musical because we're still allowed to do that because there's no audience involved. Yeah. So we're doing that, which is exciting. So that's going to be great fun for a week. So it's just 3 creatives and some performers in a room for a week, just working on a new show, developing that. And then who knows after that? Kind of, there's a lot of talk about potential things over Christmas, but if they're allowed to happen, who knows?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's good to have things in the pipeline, but don't want to get too excited.
Yeah, I'll never speak their name out loud until I know that it's signed, because I know I don't want to jinx that anymore. Not with the stuff that's gone on this year.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to say what else could go wrong, but yeah, I'm not going to say it. I just did.
Crossed.
Everything crossed. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Lauren. Thanks for having me.
Chatting with me.
Love to the family.
Yeah, will do. And you. And take care. Have a lovely rest of your Monday.
And you. Take care and see you soon.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.